Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I, of course, am Carl, and we are back with another weekly upload. Now, I will have to apologize still. I am still in the process of regaining my voice. I know it sounds eh, but trust me, if you had heard me about a week ago, you would have, well, not been able to hear me very well. So 2 weeks ago, I got a fever. I had been out working on my new truck, and I came in feeling just way overheated. Figured maybe I just got too much sun. That turned into a fever for the next about 3 days. Um, a lot of nights waking up in the chills and everything. Then, well, Friday, the 4th, came along and my voice started going. And I kind of held it together, but still wasn't feeling the best, of course. Saturday came along and I couldn't even make a sound. I could barely just kind of do a wheezing growl sound, just to get words out. But it's definitely been a challenge trying to get it back. A lot of tea, a lot of cough drops, and a lot of fluids trying to get everything back. But we're getting there. So I do apologize for the silent film that we had last week, but that was the best I could do with what I had. So now I still kind of have a lingering cough, but I'll try to keep that at bay for the video. But either way, we will look at a really cool one today. I did also want to tell you guys, I did just start school. It looks like last Monday now. So I have been really, really busy. And of course, it's the summer, so everybody wants to get out and do stuff. So plans, of course, materialize pretty frequently and, sometimes last minute. So it's been kind of a wild time. So um, I ended up being out of town all weekend. And when I thought we were going to get back considerably earlier, we had some things we had to do when we got back, which kept me out late last night. So that's why video was a little delayed, which is why I made that post, letting you guys know. I know some people watch for those videos on Sundays, so for those that um, didn't see it or missed it or didn't see my announcement, sorry. I just couldn't do it last night, but we got it here tonight, and we'll get it out for you guys. I know it is a little bit later, but I had about 3 hours worth of schoolwork when I got done with work today, so um, definitely have had to kind of play, a juggling act kind of to keep everything going. But anyways, let's get on to our video for today and take a look at another really cool one. All right, everybody. So you probably kind of saw this in the thumbnail, but we've got a new inbox machine to open up today. So what we've got here is a 1990 Hoover Spirit model S3431. This was a model that came out towards the very, very end of the Spirits lineup. As you can see, the colors are quite a bit different than the other Spirits. I know that I have looked at several Spirits on my channel. They have become kind of one of my more favorite machines, canister-wise, just because they're very lightweight. They do a very good job, whether it's just straight suction or with a power nozzle. And they have a tool rack most of the time. So there's a lot of options. They were very nice machines. And, while they were a little bit cheaply made in compared to, other canisters at the time or even the previous machines, the Hoover Spirit was in all ways a very worldly machine in the way that, well, you just got everything with it in terms of a vacuum cleaner. Now, this one is new in the box. I don't have very many new in the box machines, but this is one. Now, it may have been taken out at some point. As you can see, it's not sealed necessarily, but it is as new as you can get it. Based on the little tapelets up here that say Sears on them, this was purchased at Sears in about 1990. It was definitely one of the lower end, middle tier type vacuum cleaners. Of course, Sears was selling Kenmore, so this would have been kind of more of a budget option they would have turned you to if you couldn't afford the Kenmore. So Hoover Spirit. Now, while Sears did offer this machine, it was not exclusively sold at Sears. They were offered many different places, including vacuum shops. And of course, they were advertised throughout different magazines and newspapers. And I was actually able to find an ad. Now, albeit it isn't the easiest to see or read, but here is an ad for it in a newspaper. As you can see, you can kind of make it out, but it is definitely, harder to see in black and white. But hey, that's what we have. But and that was the easiest one I could find for you guys. Unfortunately, I didn't find too much else on it other than that one, but I did want to have an ad for this. But as far as where I got this machine, my good friend Jared, whom we've talked about many, many times fairly recently because he has been um, getting rid of a lot of his collection. This was one of the last ones that he gave me. I could tell that he really didn't want to get rid of because he did get this fairly recently. But finding anything new in the box obviously is a huge deal for collectors. So when he found it, he was ecstatic. So when he gave this to me, I definitely knew that I needed to take care of this and make sure to get it on a video to show you guys. So what we're going to do today is we're going to carefully take it out. We'll do kind of an unboxing, if you will. We'll do a quick run demo with it, and then I'm going to carefully put it back in the box. That way it can still live its new in the box type life from here going forward. So let's get into it. All right, so first up, we of course have the hose. Pretty standard issue, but man, is it nice to see a brand new hose, especially when we're talking about a Spirit, which these normally got used and used a lot. So to see a new hose for a Spirit is just, well, it's minty. So we'll set that there. Next up, we're going to have our extension wands. As you can see, these are the plastic later models towards the end of the Spirit lineup, as well as other Hoover canisters. They would come with only the plastic with the kind of the button twist type style lock mechanisms. So interesting to see these. Of course, brand new shape, other than maybe a little grime from sitting in the box for better part of 35 some years. So very interesting to see those. Set those there. Next up, we have our floor tool. Now, this is a very common floor tool. Hoover reproduced this floor nozzle for a very, very long time. You could get this with things like the Porta Power that would become, the commercial versions of such, and even was used in things like stickbacks and stuff like that. So very, very nice. Interestingly enough, it was assembled in Mexico, so we kind of can put that time frame for Hoover when they were still making parts in Mexico for the Hoover company. So very interesting. Of course, has the two settings on it for rugs and bare floors that essentially just brings up a long drag brush up or down, depending on what surface you're on. We will, of course, be putting it on rug mode today, obviously, rug. So we'll set this over here. Next up, of course, we're going to have our tools and attachments. Now, this one wasn't on the machine. We'll bring the machine out with the other tools on it, of course, but brand new Hoover crevice tool, which awesome to see brand new, just because, this normally gets sanded the heck out of doing, your assorted crevices and whatnot. You're dragging this on the floor, so it's just kind of grinding right here, which this one's not. So very nice to see that. Next up, we have a piece of parchment, which is in the form of an envelope. Looks like this is for or from the Hoover company. Looks like this was for placing an ad for anything. Kind of interesting because you see it's an envelope, and you've got some like order boxes on the back here. It looks like you could probably put any type of order in the envelope in case you needed things like scent tablets and whatnot. but it actually turns into an ad for the Decade 800 right here. You gotta be careful with that because I don't want to tear it. It is a little bit torn just from sitting, but look, it's an ad for the Decade 800. Very, very cool because the Decade 800, of course, was the top of the line machine back during this time period in terms of uprights. Now we'll take the machine out. It's kind of in there weird just because they have like the little pieces of cardboard to hold the machine in. So we'll pull it out. Take out the shipping cardboard. There's nothing inside. I already looked, but put that up there. And we'll pull you out. So there's the machine. We have a few more pieces of paper. Looks like we have a consumer response card letting Hoover know how the machine is, and just kind of getting them a demographic from who's got the machine and whatnot. So very interesting to see that. Of course, we have our owner's manual for the Hoover Spirit. Very, very cool. Of course, I've read through these manuals 7,000 times. This one, has an issue date. Looks like 1985, which this is not an 85 machine. It's quite a bit later. But, for these machines, they didn't really change the manuals too much because, of course, that costs a lot of money. And when you're introducing new machines, you got to try to save on it some, especially if you have like a budget machine. So that's great. And then looks like you have your full warranty as well as service centers listed. I am in Washington State, so I'm just reading here where they would have been the Hoover Company Kmart Shopping Center off of Aurora Avenue in Seattle, Washington. I know where Aurora Avenue is. I have a friend that lives over there. I didn't know that there was a Kmart shopping center, nonetheless, with a Hoover service center, so that's interesting. Seeing that, of course, then there was also unit number 2911 Monroe in Spokane, Washington. So that would have been Eastern Washington across mountains. So you kind of had to have one on one side of the state and one on the other. So very interesting to see this. So very interesting to have a few little pieces of Hoover history that went with this little machine. Now, the machine itself. Now, this is a pretty bottom of the line. We still have our rubber band around the cord, so we'll set that over there. Of course, this thing is just minty fresh. Now, it is a little bit dusty, just, I guess, from sitting in the box. Now, Jared did find this, I believe, at a thrift store, so it was sitting there for a little bit, but virtually, aside from a few scuffs, maybe from the hose, the extension wands kind of rubbing on it, there really isn't anything wrong with it, aside from just a little sitting dust. Of course, here's our crevice tool. Put that back there, and we have it all ready to go. Now, this machine's kind of interesting to me, not only because it doesn't have a cord winder, but also because of the wheels. Now, Spirits tended to normally have black wheels or, some other type of dark body color to match. And this one has these cream wheels. It's very, very interesting. I actually have two of this particular model, I realized. And one, I believe, is the power nozzle model, but very, very interesting machine. Of course, it's just a one-speed machine with an on-off rocker switch right here. But aside from that, very, very basic. We'll take a look inside real quick. We'll take, now, these are what the Spirit was famous for, having this front cover that would come off, had your tool kit, set that over there. Of course, we have our Type K bag, nothing inside it. It looks like it was, maybe test powered up, but this is the original bag that would have come from Hoover in that green color. So very, very nice. I mean, everything in here is just spotless. So really, really happy to see that. If this thing ever was ran, it was only ran as a test, maybe. So really nice to see that. I mean, of course, you see like the Hoover Spirit logos and everything, just so perfect on it. So very, very, very nice machine. So really, really happy with what this is, what it looks like. And I know Jared is happy that it has itself a good home. But anyways, let's get on to our run demo for today and see how a brand new Hoover Spirit sounds on the carpet. All right, everybody, so we have the little 1990 Hoover Spirit Model S3431 all plugged in and ready to go. So let's see how a brand new Spirit does. Now we're going to do a smaller run demo today, just because I don't want to run it too long. It is a NOS machine, so the motor might be a little bit dry, so the bearings may be a little whiny. But either way, we're going to do a little bit of work here on the floor and see how she does. Well, everybody, the little Spirit did really well for, well, maybe waking up from a 30-some-year nap. So very, very proud to see how this thing turned out and see how it did. So really glad that you guys could join me for another fun run demo, and hope you enjoyed our little time with the Spirit. Well, everybody, I thought I would close our video out today a little differently than we normally do. Normally, I'll sit in my green chair and I'll hold the vacuum and just kind of say goodbye for today and this week. But being as I need to repack this machine back into its box, I'm going to go ahead and take it apart and slowly put it back in there, and we'll close out then. So what we'll, of course, do is take off the hose and extension wands and all that great stuff. And so that way the canister's ready to go. So we'll take Mr. Canister and we'll take his little piece of cardboard, put it back in. But we got to put the canister in first. That way the handle can kind of go back in there, like so. So now the canister's back in. Now we'll take our rubber band from the factory, and we'll, of course, just kind of loosely wind the cord back up to kind of a figure 8-ish thing, like what they did. But anyways, while I'm doing this, thank you guys all again for joining us today. I'm sorry that my voice is still not 100%. I was always told I had a face for radio, so my voice has been kind of something I depend on pretty routinely. At work, I'm usually on the phone all day, or at least to a lot extent. So it's definitely been kind of hard, kind of challenging for sure, to kind of keep going to work and not being able to talk or make calls or anything like that. But either way, my team has kind of helped me and covered for me. So I've been fortunate in that way. Now we'll have our cord here. I'm going to put it right down the middle on the machine. That way it's not in the way of the two extension wands. So, but anyways, it's definitely been a very long couple weeks trying to regain what I have had. Now, very much like how this went in before, it was kind of laying on the cord in front of the machine. So we'll put that floor tool right in here. Next up, we'll take our extension wands off of the hose. So have that right here. And we'll twist our button locks. So these are back here. Put them back on like so. So those are looped in there. Before I put our hose in, I'm going to just take our various pieces of paper and documentation, put that back in its little slot there. And then we'll take our hose, put that like so right there on the top. Now, I'm sure there was probably another packing piece up here, but whoever had this, maybe they opened it just enough to have it ready in case I needed it, and then just left it. So, but we'll shut the box up like so. And our 1990 Hoover Spirit Model 3431 is back in its sleeping chambers and ready for the next display when I get it out. But anyways, thank you all again for joining us today. Hopefully next week I will be back to my regular old, you know, hey everybody, it's Constellation Carl Vacuums and we're back for another one. But I appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. I'm sorry the video's a little later tonight. Like I said, I got a little bogged down with homework, but we're getting through it. It's a lot of work, but hey, we'll make it through. Anyways, of course, please go back and check out my links on my previous videos. Take a look at me and my wife's books. We are working on a set of children's books, including one about a vacuum. So, of course, that one's a little bit more closer to my heart. But hey, go take a look at it. Check it out. Get yourself a copy if you can. If not, please check it out. The more people watch and look at my and my wife's work, the more people will be able to find it. If you are interested in buying a vintage vacuum cleaner, say you need something, Carl, we need a new Dial-O-Matic, convertible, whatever, definitely go take a look at my eBay listings. I will post links down below to both of our book and the listings because got a lot of stuff that I gotta sell that are duplicates, and every machine sold means that I can spend more time and save more machines in the future. So definitely go take a look at all of that. Once again, thank you all again for joining us today. We will be back again next week on Sunday, same place, same time, same guy, different vacuum or vacuums. And we'll catch you again on the next one. Have a great rest of your day, y'all.